What if the most dangerous people in your life never actually look dangerous?
Think about it. What if the individuals quietly orchestrating your downfall are the exact same people you trust the most? You know, the ones who seem perfectly charming, intelligent, helpful, and kind.
In his incredible book, The Laws of Human Nature, Robert Greene hands us a cipher. It's essentially a master key to decoding the hidden, often pretty dark motives of absolutely everyone around you. Because here's the thing, the real danger in life, it isn't some shadowy figure in an alleyway. The real danger is our own complete failure to recognize the psychological patterns staring us right in the face.
Look, as social animals, we've spent literally millennia perfecting the art of the mask. We curate this exterior that looks trustworthy and kind just to survive. We all know a coworker who's always perfectly polite, or a friend who seems impossibly supportive, right? But beneath that carefully constructed armor lies the shadow, a whole realm of hidden motives, irrational ego, and dark envy. We naturally assume the mask is the person, but trust me, it's not.
So, to penetrate this armor, we've got to realize we're being misdirected. The legendary psychologist Milton Erickson hit the nail on the head when he said, "Words are often used as a cover-up, a way to conceal what is really going on." If you're judging people by what they say, the promises they make, the compliments they give, you are already losing the game. People use language as a smokescreen to distract you from what they're actually up to.
To find the actual truth, we have to look deeper, down to human biology. Nonverbal communication is this ancient primal language, bred deep within us way before we even invented spoken words. And because of that, it completely bypasses our conscious control. No matter how perfectly someone crafts their sentences, they're constantly leaking their true, irrational intentions through their physical presence. The mask always cracks. You just have to know where to look.
Erickson's solution was this chilling, three-word tactical directive: observe, observe, observe. In a world full of hidden daggers, you have to detach from your own emotional reactions and become, well, a cold, strategic observer of everyone around you. This actually becomes a tactical process. Watch how they walk, look for tension in their neck, and completely ignore their words. Erickson used to make his patients incredibly comfortable in conversation, just so he could watch exactly where their hidden physical tension surfaced. A locked jaw, maybe a stiff neck. These reveal unmet desires and concealed frustration that their polite words are just desperately trying to hide.
And most people never notice this until it's way too late. Take something as simple as walking. Erickson noticed that the sheer heaviness of a person's step exposes their true inner state. An emphatic, heavy walk, that reveals persistence, real resolve. Meanwhile, a light, floating step usually indicates someone less grounded, maybe lacking follow-through. It's literally a silent, involuntary confession of who they are. But listen, there is an even more explosive warning sign. You need to be highly suspicious of sudden, childish intensity. Imagine a colleague reacting to some minor disagreement with completely disproportionate, petulant anger. You aren't dealing with an adult in that moment. You're actually witnessing an early childhood wound being triggered. In that brief, intense burst of emotion, their mask just shatters entirely, revealing their most vulnerable and volatile shadow.
But that isn't the most dangerous trait hiding in the shadow, not by a long shot. The real danger is envy. Think about the Latin root for the word envy, invidia. It's terrifying. It literally translates to look through, to probe with the eyes like a dagger. Envy is not a passive feeling. It's an active psychological weapon aimed directly at you, and often by the people smiling right to your face. You have to know what hidden envy looks like in the wild. Toxic, envious types will often use gossip as a really convenient cover to vent their resentment. Just watch their physical cues. When they discuss someone else's failure, their voice suddenly gets unusually animated. Or, when they hear bad news about you, their eyes will literally light up. That is hidden schadenfreude. They are experiencing deep, genuine joy at your misfortune.
Now, you might be thinking your close friends and peers would be thrilled for your success. But as the ancient poet Hesiod noted way back in the 8th century BC, the potter envies the potter. The most dangerous betrayal rarely comes from a sworn enemy. No, it comes from your own friend group, your own industry. Because your success highlights their perceived inadequacies. Absolutely no one is immune to this dark emotion.
So how do we protect ourselves from all this? Well, the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer offers some profoundly unsettling advice. Occasionally mix a grain of disdain into your friendships.
It sounds incredibly cold, I know, but human nature dictates that excessive kindness is so often taken for weakness. Being just slightly unpredictable, withholding a little bit of warmth, keeps toxic and envious types completely off balance. It stops them from ever feeling comfortable enough to strike.
But just as we learn to hunt for these clues, we run into a massive psychological trap, Othello's error. In Shakespeare's play, Othello brutally misreads his innocent wife's nervousness as guilt. Why? Because his own aggressive, intimidating questioning is what made her nervous in the first place. We do this constantly. We pick up an emotional cue from a partner or colleague, but our own paranoia and emotional blindness dangerously misread where it came from.
The mechanism behind this error is pretty simple, actually. We are incredibly lazy observers. The very moment we feel tension, our desperate need for comfort forces us to rush to the first explanation that validates our own ego. We just see evidence that confirms our pre-existing beliefs, which completely blinds us to the very real warning signs flashing right in front of us.
This leaves us on the ultimate psychological battlefield. On one side, you have emotional blindness, which is our default state of disconnecting from reality simply to soothe our ego. And on the other side, rationality. But true rationality is a hard-fought, strenuous effort to open your mind to what is actually happening, counteracting that relentless magnetic pull of our emotions.
To really practice this rationality, you have to anticipate exactly when the mask is going to fall. Emotional leakage is inevitable under rising pressure or stress, but you also need to watch out during moments of sudden success, which carries this intoxicating, addictive pull, or even just in the presence of highly charismatic, inflaming individuals. In those moments, the cool mask of self-control always melts away.
But all of this builds to a final, pretty terrifying twist. If you've been watching this explainer thinking about all the manipulative, toxic people in your life, stop. You are not just the detective in this psychological mystery. You're also the suspect. That exact same dangerous human nature you fear in others, it resides deep within you. See, we are all infected with superiority bias. We're completely deluded into thinking that we are the highly rational, highly ethical ones. When we manipulate situations, like, say, spinning a story to make ourselves look better at work, we tell ourselves it's totally justified. But when others do the exact same thing, we're quick to accuse them of dark, Machiavellian tactics.
The absolute hardest truth of human nature is this: we are all narcissists on a spectrum. Yes, all of us. Every single one of us is profoundly governed by irrational emotions and a habitual self-absorption. We're just far more interested in soothing our own egos than we are in seeing the objective, unvarnished truth of the world around us. To survive others, you first have to survive yourself. You have to relentlessly challenge the person looking back in the mirror. As Greene writes, learn to question yourself. Why this anger or resentment? Where does this incessant need for attention come from? When you mercilessly scrutinize your own emotions, you destroy your ego's tyrannical hold over your reality, because only then can you actually see clearly.
The ultimate takeaway here is that rationality is not natural. You definitely weren't born with it. Being irrational is practically wired into the physical structure of our brains. Rationality is a shield, and it can only be forged through extreme self-awareness, brutal training, and a daily refusal to let emotion dictate your reality. It requires stepping back and intentionally increasing your reaction time.
Which leaves us with this final, haunting reflection. If human nature dictates that the people around me, and the person inside me, have been revealing who they truly are all along through their actions, their nonverbal cues, and their emotional leaks, have I been paying attention? Or have I just been looking at the masks?
If this explainer helped you decode the hidden dynamics of the world around you, make sure to like the explainer, subscribe to Beyond the Pages, and definitely share this with someone who needs to look beyond appearances. Keep observing, stay rational, and I'll see you in the next one.